Welcome back to another very special episode of the Baseball America College Baseball Podcast. As Peter said, we're pumped. It's exciting to be back here. We love being on the YouTube channel live. It's different for us. We're waiting for people to jump in to our live stream from Omaha. Obviously, the College World Series is underway. Today was day 2. Murray State, UCLA played in the early game, and then we had the marquee matchup that everybody had been waiting for, Arkansas LSU. In the evening, we have lots to talk about. There were, again, phenomenal individual performances across the board today. I was really impressed with a couple team performances, and we're excited to break it all down. And so for those of you who are just joining us right now, the comment section is open. You can send your questions in. We'd love to answer them. And we're going to chat with you about college baseball for about the next 30 or so minutes, and we'll see what people are contributing, and we'll go from there. But to start, Pete, great day. Again, another really big and exciting day. Let's run through the scoreboard here just real quick. UCLA first beat Murray State 6-4, kind of put an end, or not an end, but a freeze a little bit on that magical run that Murray State was on. And then we had a phenomenal game between LSU and Arkansas. LSU won that 4-1. Kade Anderson was spectacular. Give me your big takeaways like we did yesterday. What are some of the things that stuck out to you?
Big takeaways. I'll try and keep it quick. UCLA with a really nice hard-fought win over an excellent Murray State club. You kind of thought that the game might get a little bit out of hand, and it did to an extent in the fourth when they hung 4 and went up 16, or not 16-0. They went up 6-0. Biggest swing of the day for the Bruins was AJ Salgado's 2-run laser of a double. I think it had an exit velo of 115.
Yep.
But in unsurprising fashion, Murray State didn't roll over. They put up 4 unanswered, cut it to 6-4. And the vibe I kind of got was, while the game was in reach score wise, I didn't really think the result was ever in doubt, even as we got into later innings and the Racers kept, scratching and clawing. They had the 2-run 8th inning. But I didn't really feel like the game was at a UCLA's grasp at any point. I thought Michael Burnett was really solid. The bullpen stepped up, led by flamethrower Easton Hawk. He's got really legit stuff. If he's around the zone and commanding it, that kid's a dude. And then just a balanced attack offensively. Roman Martin, AJ Salgado, 2 RBIs apiece. Dean West with a couple of knocks, and RBI single. Just a business-like performance from the Bruins. I was impressed. And then tonight, and we can get more into this as we go on, but man, that was pretty loud from LSU, especially Kade Anderson. They chased Zach Root after just an inning and 2/3, and Zach Root we don't need to talk about him a whole lot at length because we've talked about how great he's been all year, but he's a really high-quality arm. So for them to get to him early, make him work, that was huge. And then I think the rest, as they say, was history. Kade Anderson was outstanding. He's made himself a lot of money this spring, and I think he just made himself a little bit more money this evening. It was, you were there live, but it was outstanding. 3 hits across 7 innings of 1-run ball. A 3-run second inning was all the offense the Tigers needed. 1-4-1. Chase Shores and Kason Evans, scoreless inning apiece to kind of put a bow on this thing, and again, not to get too drastic with it after just 1 game total for all 8 teams, but maybe position themselves in the driver's seat of the entire field that's left. So really impressed with the Tigers mostly.
We'll talk about that and more as we get deeper into our show here. Again, I just want to remind everybody as you join, please do submit your questions. We've already had a couple starting to come in here via the chat. We can see your questions. We will put them on the live stream, and we are happy to answer them. Before we get into our first answering of questions here, Pete, I do want to do what we did yesterday and go through each game. Let's talk about game 1 first, UCLA Murray State. You mentioned a lot of the big themes there. Easton Hawk was really impressive at the end. Michael Barnett, I thought, was very solid over 4 2/3 innings. He only gave up a run, struck out 4, didn't have his best command, which has been kind of a staple of his arsenal so far this year. Wylan Moss didn't have his best day, but Ian May did. And this offense was really good through the first 4 innings. They were able to do the majority of their damage. 8 of their 9 hits, and all 6 of their runs scored between the first and the fourth. But a kind of a tale of two teams for me throughout that game for UCLA. I think at the beginning, We saw a team that was really aggressive. We saw a team that wanted to go in ambush. It knew what it was looking for at the plate, and it was able to capitalize when it got what it wanted. At the same time, though, they did fall apart. After the 5th inning, UCLA recorded just 1 hit, 1 base runner. It was an 8th inning single from 9-hole hitter Phoenix Call, who did have a really good day. But I'm curious what you think about what this does for the Bruins. I think it puts them in a really interesting position. On one hand, we see a team that's very capable of getting on base at a high clip. They're capable of moving runners over station to station, which we know and talked about yesterday is very important in Omaha. But at the same time, now they have to go do it against LSU, and that will certainly be against Anthony Ianson.
Yeah, so I mean, we touched on it last night, and not to put a damper on UCLA's great day at the Yard, winning that first game is super, super important. But they've got a whole different beast ahead of them with LSU and Anthony Ianson. It's going to be a real change of pace from what they saw today, and that's not a shot at all at Murray State. They're an excellent team, but Anthony Ianson's he's cut from a little bit of a different cloth than a lot of arms in the country. So. Yeah, I mean, you're going to probably hand the ball to Landon Stump would be my guess. They've got a handful of bullets left in the bullpen that I think that they can feel really excited about being able to use. Particularly, you know, Jack O'Connor, Wyland Moss is probably available. Cal Randall will be available. Chris Grouths or Growthways. If I pronounced his name wrong, apologies, but you know, they've got arms they feel confident in. And they're going to need all hands on deck against LSU. So, and Anthony Ianson, they've got their work cut out for them, though. I'll say that.
No, certainly. And I do think that it's important to mention that the way that they play offense, and we talked about this with Coach Lemonis before the College World Series started, the way that they play offense is not necessarily what we're used to seeing in college baseball right now, especially at the power level. It is very station to station. It's not power reliant, as I said a second ago. And today that was really the case. Now that we've seen that unfold a little bit, I'm curious your opinion. Is it sustainable? My mind tells me yes, because of how deep this park is. And the reality is, look, UCLA scored 6 runs, all of them in the first 4 innings, didn't score again after that, and they still held on and they won the game. Granted, it was against a team like Murray State, which, by the way, is not a knock on Murray State, but it's just the reality of the situation. It's hard to come back in Omaha. You don't get a lot of home runs. There aren't a lot of big innings. It's low-scoring games consistently. Is this sustainable for UCLA?
I mean, it's their style of play, and it's worked this year. It's like kind of a throwback West Coast style. They're not afraid to play small, go station to station, and move guys over. I mean, we saw it today. We had Rock Chalowski squaring, you know, a National Player of the Year candidate, squaring, I think it was with first and third and 1 out. If I got the situation wrong, then I got to lock in a little bit more. But like, you know, they'll have anyone square in any situation to move a guy over to get a run in. And it's worked for them. So, I mean, if it's kind of the classic, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. They're not going to get out of their approach. They're not going to get out of their play style just for a single game. You know, they're going to keep it rolling. So I think it's sustainable again, even though on paper they're overmatched. That's why you play the games. Like, there's very much a world in which UCLA can steal one here from LSU and shake this whole tournament up. But it's going to be really difficult.
Let's talk Rock Chalowski here for a second. I know that how you and I feel about him. We've talked about him plenty off the air. We haven't really talked about him on the air very much, and I think that it's time to do so. A bona fide player of the year candidate. Today was not necessarily his best day. He drew a walk in the first and had a sacrifice bunt that scored a run in the 4th against Murray State today. I will add, by the way, that bunt play, entirely his decision. Apparently, head coach John Savage had nothing to do with it. He came out in the post-game press conference and said that was all Rock's decision. We didn't encourage that from the dugout. We didn't even really necessarily want it. We wanted our best player to swing the bat, but it did produce a run. It produced a critical run in a game that ended up being pretty tight. Pete, give me the scout. Why should people be excited about him outside of what's apparent? Good defender. He's got a good bat. What else is there?
Well, I first love the fact that bunt play was entirely his decision. Like, you want to talk about a selfless team guy. That fits the description to a T with that bunt play. So, you know, he's he's a really, really complete player on both sides of the baseball. He's long been known for his defense. He can really, really pick it. The actions are buttery smooth. The hands are outstanding. He's got an above average, if not plus arm, slam dunk to stick at shortstop where he's an impact defender. It's a whole lot of like, this is what it looks like. And he swung the bat well last year. He had 21 extra base hits, hit over 300, drove in 33 or 34 runs. But this year he's taken it to a little bit of a different level. He hit 367, 19 doubles, 23 homers, 73 RBIs. He walked 44 times to just 29 strikeouts. It's a really appealing offensive package. The approach is advanced. The contact skills are plus. He ran a 90% in zone contact rate, I think. He's driving the baseball and impacting the baseball with more authority and generating high quality contact on a much more regular basis this year. He is again, we talked about, he's a National Player of the Year candidate, all this, but he's also a candidate to go first overall in next year's draft. And if I were to do like a quick re-rank of the class of 2026 college guys, it'd be a set it and forget it at 1 with Rock. He's just a really, really impressive player on both sides of the ball. Even just kind of seeing him walk around and how he carries himself, and I mean this in a positive way, it's just a little bit different than everyone else. And there's a lot of things that he does in a positive way that are different than everyone else. Like it's special. So I'm really excited we get to watch him for another year collegiately. And I'm going to try my best to soak it in because I think he's going to have a very, very long career as an impact big leaguer.
I had an opportunity to talk with AJ Salgado, who plays right field for UCLA, one of the very few seniors in this lineup that's very sophomore heavy, very home recruited, by the way, which is a rarity in today's day and age of college baseball. And I asked him, what's it like playing with a guy like Rock Chalowski? I mean, tell me about the player, the person. What does he do for the team? What kind of a leader is he? And very quickly, AJ Salgado said something to the effect of, the guy's unbelievable. And it's not just about whether he's a good baseball player. He's obviously a very good baseball player, and you just described in great detail as to why that is. But he talked about how this kid is a leader and somebody who really is invested in the process. And it sounds like he's extremely vocal within the locker room. Salgado gave me an example today about how Chalowski pulled the team aside and basically was like, hey, we need to win game 1. And not only is it important for the obvious reasons, here are the stats. If we want to go and win a national title, these are the odds that we have to do it if we win game 1 versus if we lose game 1. It just goes to show you what kind of a player, kind of the quarterback that UCLA has. John Savage likened him to Brandon Crawford, former Bruin shortstop and longtime Major League veteran, and said exactly that the two of those guys love to play quarterback, and they do that for the team. Let's go to the comments, Pete. We got a couple people here who are commenting right now, got some good questions. Before I put them onto the screen, I will tell the people who are on the live stream right now, chime in. We would love to hear from you, and we want to answer your questions. So submit your comments. We'll put them on the broadcast. We'll talk what you want to talk. The first one's pretty simple. Parker, hi. Just wanted to say hi. Pete?
Hello.
There you go. Next question is from Uncle Ted. It's a real question. How many of these kids are throwing 4 seams with high induced vertical break and cutters? Peter, I'm going to let you answer that. But before you do, why don't you tell people what induced vertical break is in case they don't know?
I'm happy you teed me up with that because that's where I was heading. So as per usual, we're in lockstep. IVB is when you hear someone describe a fastball as it has carry or ride through the strike zone. It is referring to that pitch's IVB or induced vertical break. So when you hear a guy talked about with a heater that has plus ride or plus carry, he's popping high IVBs consistently. It's a good question, and I don't want to touch on every single arm on every single team because we'd be here till the next time we got a pod. But like Kade Anderson, for example, is a high ride guy. He's got plus carry through the zone. Gosh, I'm trying to think of anyone else we may have seen today that kind of fits that description or even in the tournament. Dax Whitney's a high ride guy last night on his fastball.
Easton Hawks, great example.
Easton Hawk, Patrick Forbes is another guy with plus carry through the zone. You see him consistently get it above the barrel of opposing hitters.
Wyland Moss pitched today for UCLA.
Yep. Cam Flukie yesterday, trademark high ride plus carry guy. Like it's almost like skee ball type deal when he gets it up in the zone. It's legit.
And
And
cutters,
those are
by the way, sorry, go
go
ahead. Go
for it.
ahead. No,
No,
go.
I was going to kind of segue into you, because I was going to say those are like the quartet of arms that stick out to me right away. Smith Bailey from Arizona's got a little bit of hop up in the zone.
Kramkowski.
Yeah, Kramkowski's kind of like a dead zone fastball. I think it's like, which means, again, this is kind of like BA 101. We're going to school here late at night, but like dead zone fastball is when the IVB and horizontal break are the same, if not similar. So that's kind of what it means with a dead zone fastball. But the four guys I mentioned with Anderson, Forbes, Whitney, Fluky, those are the four guys, we've seen in the last couple of days who fit the description of high ride guys. And then Anthony Ianson tomorrow is not by any means like a high ride fastball guy, but it's got some carry up in the zone in life in the top half. So there's certainly
more
more
arms. Cutter shout out. Can I give a cutter shout out?
Yeah, go for it.
Chase Shores. Can we talk about Chase Shores here for a second, Pete?
Yeah.
We're going to use that to transition into our second game of the day, LSU versus Arkansas. Chase Shores came in tonight, was throwing 101 mile an hour cutters. Just ridiculous stuff. I mean, we saw some nasty pitching from Chase Shores. Educate the good people, Peter.
Man, that kid is as electric as they come. If you need an alarm clock in the form of watching baseball in the morning, just pull up some Chase Shores video and he'll get the juices flowing. He's been solid this year for the Tigers at times, especially when they use him kind of like they did tonight, almost in a fireman type of role. Just premium velo. The cutter, as you said, those are freaking gross. Like, I don't know how else to describe it in like not so colloquial terms, but I mean, it's just disgusting. Like upper 90s, triple digits cutters, just takes hard late left turns. Especially against right-handed hitters and really just against any hitter, it's just a whole lot to handle. He pairs it with an effective slider, but it's just like, for lack of a better term, and hopefully like we don't, I'll keep it at this. It's like screw you type of stuff, but not screw you. It's like,
tell people what's on the screen right now.
Oh yeah. So this is actually great to throw up there. This is the TrackMan on Chase Shores' cutter. And for those who don't know, this is really good. 101 with almost 15 inches of cut, a little bit of ride to it, high spin pitch. Like that's as good as it gets collegiately. So I mean, he's a stud. They're going to use, like, his arm is still fresh. He's got a lot of bullets left. And he was nails tonight.
No, he definitely was. These are the kinds of things that we love over at Baseball America, the numbers like that. Great question, Uncle Ted. That was a great question. Let's look at a couple more things here from last night. A return of a friend, Anthony JD. Welcome back to the live stream. Anderson was absolute nails tonight. Sure was. Yeah. Sure was absolute nails tonight. Let's talk about it, Peter. I mean, this was the guy just continues to impress. I've seen him in person now 3 different times this year, and every single time I feel like for lack of better terms, I've fallen in love more and more every time. 7 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts on 100 pitches. He threw 60 strikes, ERA down to 3.44 on the year. He is now officially the national leader in strikeouts. Excuse me, I almost said ERA. He's the national leader in strikeouts. Just crazy. I mean, he can locate 4 pitches. We saw a curveball tonight that had over 3,200 RPMs. His fastball was up to, I think, 96 tonight at one point, with over 20 inches of, we just broke it down for you, induced vertical break. Big word here for the squad who's still tuned in. It was a crazy performance. I mean, you said back in March that you thought that he had a chance to be SP1 this year. I don't know that there are a lot of people who are going to smartly argue against that right now. Liam Doyle's in the conversation. Kyson Witherspoon's in the conversation. The reality, though, is that there's only one of those guys who's still playing. Jamie Arnold is in the conversation. But of those players who I just named, the only guy who's still playing is Kade Anderson, and he continues to look like the best pitcher in the country from my chair. From your chair, same thing?
No doubt. You summed it up perfectly, and we got into it a little bit earlier, but he's made himself a lot of money this season. And I think he just added a little bit of a change to his pockets after tonight. It was exceptional. And you summed it up real well, but it's a legitimate 4-pitch mix with strikes. The stuff is high end. For me, there's only one guy that fits into that bucket where you've got a legit 4-pitch mix and an enticing blend of strikes, stuff, projectability. There's a really high ceiling here, and it's Kade Anderson. Like, he is no brainer. SP1 for me this July, like absolute slam dunk, no brainer type deal. And that's not a knock on Jamie Arnold. It's not a knock on Kyson Witherspoon. It's not a knock on Liam Doyle. Any of these other guys, like they're really good arms, but Kade is a little bit, he's just a step above him for me right now. And I mean, like tonight or on other nights, you could leave the yard with, at least 260s, maybe 360s on your scouting report on him. Cause I mean, the fastball, it's got plus carry up in the zone. It's probably closer to 55 than it is a 6, but he's got 2+ breaking balls with the hammer curveball. Like you said, it was popping over 3,000 RPMs tonight, and the slider, which has been a revelation. It's distinct in shape. So he's just exceptional. And on top of all that, like, it's a really low effort, aesthetically pleasing look from the left side. He's a really, really special arm talent. And I feel really confident that he's going to be potentially a headliner in a big league rotation at some point in his career. He's outstanding.
And by the way, the makeup is so good too. I mean, it's such a confident pitcher who goes out there and just understands how to do his business. I thought the most important tonight, if you're a draft evaluator of this Kade Anderson start, was actually its worst moment, oddly enough. He gave up a home run this evening, and the way that he bounced back after giving up that home run just had me so impressed. I really loved watching him operate when things were a little ugly, when things got dirtier. It was the 6th inning. He was kind of getting up there in pitch count already, gives up a home run, and he immediately comes back with a strikeout and then a ground out, another strikeout, retires the side in order in the 7th, and then he comes back out for the 8th and gives up the single and gets pulled out of the game. But I mean, I was blown away. I mean, that's the easiest way to put it, is I was blown away by Kade Anderson this evening. I also was really impressed by what LSU was able to do. I thought that this was a team that did everything that it needed to in terms of checking the Omaha boxes. Are you able to win games without home runs? Check. Are you able to pitch really well, both in terms of your starters and your bullpen? Check. Beyond measure. I mean, we talked about Chase Shores, who was impressive tonight. Kason Evans came in and closed the game out. Obviously, Kade Anderson was unbelievable and has really, if not cemented himself, then put himself very firmly in the 1-1 conversation. So, I mean, to me, Pete, it's hard for me to say that LSU is not going to win it all right now. I'm really having a hard time with it. I think that Coastal or Oregon State, the winner of that game tomorrow, is going to probably play one of LSU or Arkansas. And I just have a really hard time after what we saw tonight, seeing anybody but the Tigers being in that national championship game, other than maybe these Beavs. Connor Johnson, go Beavs, though. Yeah, I agree. I mean, they look good. What do you got? I mean, what do you think about that? Do you see LSU being the team to beat on bracket 2, or do you still think Arkansas is in that race?
1,000%. We had said it coming into it when the field was announced, the super regionals unfolded. We saw how the teams would line up in Omaha, bracket 1 and bracket 2, where, the storyline all week was whoever wins this LSU Arkansas game tonight is not only going to be in the driver's seat in bracket 2, but be in the driver's seat for this whole thing. And I see no reason to change my thinking based on tonight. If not, it just reinforces it that much more. And I'm with you. Whoever comes out of the top bracket, whether it's Oregon State or all 4 teams could, but it's most likely going to be Oregon State or Coastal, especially whoever wins tomorrow night's game. And I think that they would play, hypothetically, LSU really, really tough and really hard, whether it be Oregon State or Coastal Carolina. But like, I'm not going to pick against the Tigers in that series. Like you said, it's And we talked about them coming into the tournament throughout the spring and, how we put teams into that national championship contender bucket. It's how much depth you have on both sides of the baseball, especially on your pitching staff, especially in the rotation. Like, do you have a 1-2 punch and starter depth? Kade Anderson and Anthony Ianson, that's as good of a 1-2 punch as you can get. And then how many ways can you beat teams? Like, is your offense one-dimensional? Are you only going to slug teams to death and you can't get into this kind of pitcher's duel type deal and thrive and stack quality at bats and stack base hits? LSU has a ton of guys who can slug. They have a ton of guys who can do what they did tonight and just kind of stack quality at bats, stack base knocks. Like, they can beat you in so many ways. They're comfortable getting into any style of game. They can win in any style of game. And then you throw in the fact you get Coach Johnson at the helm. He's won at Arizona. He won 2 years ago at LSU. Like, this is a guy who knows how to handle Omaha to a T and just as good, if not better, than any coach in the country. So they are very much in pole position for me right now.
I would tend to agree. I have LSU as the team. I know I said Arkansas on our podcasts multiple times, but really it was going to come down to whoever won this game. And we said that last night as well. Let's go back here to the comments. Let's see, from Connor Johnson again. Hopefully we get to see him being Dax Whitney, the phenom true freshman, who this podcast is very fond of. We love Dax Whitney over here. One more time in Omaha. I think we will. And Kleinschmidt versus Morrison. Ethan Kleinschmidt versus Jacob Morrison will be fun tomorrow night. Perfect segue. Connor, you knew exactly where we were going. Peter, let's talk about tomorrow. Some really intriguing matchups. Louisville is going to take on Arizona. It's late, people. It's super late. 12:36 on the East Coast. Louisville's going to take on Arizona in an elimination game that I think has the potential to have fireworks. Both offenses have looked pretty solid lately, especially back going in the super regional round. Tough opening draw for both squads. Now they have a chance to keep their seasons alive. I think that game's going to get really interesting. And then in the nightcap, we have the winner's bracket game between Coastal and Oregon State, as Connor points out. Kleinschmidt versus Morrison. Kleinschmidt last week, I believe, struck out 11 in his outing. And then Jacob Morrison, the Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year, is as consistent as any arm in the country. Same question as a night ago, Peter. Give me one big thing for people to look for tomorrow, and then I'll give mine.
It's going to be the same, and I hate to kind of be a bore here for our first two shows of the College World Series, but it's going to be hard for me not to say to be extra locked in on tomorrow night's game between Coastal and Oregon State, and to a little bit of a further degree, really locked in on that pitching matchup between Jacob Morrison and Ethan Kleinschmidt, two exceptional arms. Kleinschmidt, has enjoyed kind of a breakout season, a coming out party of sorts this year in Corvallis. 106 Ks and 86 and a third innings, 3.5 ERA, fastball slider guy predominantly. The slider's a swing and miss pitch. He gets a lot of whiffs with his heater as well. And then Jacob Morrison, who's seen his draft stock ascend a really impressive amount this spring, and rightfully so. Huge 6'8" kid, imposing mound presence, Sun Belt Pitcher of the Year, perfect 11-0 record with a 2.15 ERA, 95 Ks, and I think 96 innings. Another guy that is a plus strike thrower. He's got advanced feel for his entire 4-pitch mix. All of which are distinct in shapes, and the quality with him that's perhaps I don't know if it's most impressive about Morrison, because he's just a really impressive arm in general, but in today's college game, especially in the amateur space, it's so rare to find a guy that really knows how to pitch. Like you see it, Anthony Ianson really knows how to pitch. Kade Anderson, not to keep, as the kids say, glazing him, but he really knows how to pitch as well. Jacob Morrison, exceptional pitchability guy. So it's going to be a really fun pitching matchup tomorrow night. I think it's going to be another super close, hard-fought game. Like, whoever can come through with a timely hit or two when it really matters is probably going to eke out a 1 or 2 run win. And I selfishly hope it's a really close game, because Oregon State Louisville was a lot of fun the other night, and I think tomorrow night's going to somehow be even better and top it.
I agree with that. If you are still watching us at 12:40 in the morning Eastern time, and also shout out to our West Coast people at 9:40, nice evening watch for you. If you're still with us here, we would encourage you to submit your questions. We are in the home stretch of today's show. So if you do have something that you want us to answer on the air, please do ask it now. We will make sure that your question gets onto the broadcast. We will answer it. Peter and I love to chat when it comes to college baseball. As we wait to see if we get any more questions here before wrapping up, Peter, I want to ask you one more question, our final topic of the evening. We're going to do what we usually do on the College Baseball Podcast. It's final thoughts time. Do you have a final thought for us this evening?
Ooh, this one puts me on the spot on our weekly podcast. And when I got to come up with one on a daily basis, I get even more domed up and kind of fold. It's going to be hard for me not to say how much I'm enjoying the College World Series. I think, like, not to be a Debbie Downer, we only have a handful of days left in the entire college season, no matter how much this shakes out. I think we've only got 7 or 8 more of them. So I guess I'm just trying to soak everything in. It's going to be our last time seeing a lot of these guys don their respective schools' uniforms, whether they play for Murray, any of the 8 teams. It's kind of it for all these guys collegiately. And we'll see a lot of them still in pro ball, but I guess just trying to appreciate all, one, their talent, and then 2, just kind of what they've done for the college game in general. I think college baseball is in a really good spot right now. And a lot of the guys and a lot of the teams that we see still playing are a big reason behind that. So I guess the overarching theme is soaking it in. I'm sure you'll come back with a much more intelligent final thought, and I'll be like, yeah, I should have probably thought of that. But that's where I'm at 12:42 on the East Coast.
Hey, appreciating the moment is no small thought. I think that's a very wise point. I counted in my head while you were talking. The maximum amount of days that we have left of college baseball season with games is 8 days. It's very sad. And then, by the way, I will mention that includes Thursdays if necessary day and Mondays if necessary day. So we have somewhere between as few as 6 and as many as 8 days left of college baseball games in 2025. Very sad. We obviously love it when there are games happening. Anthony JD, does Murray State have a prayer versus Arkansas? You know what? I'm glad you asked, because that leads right into my final thought, which is that I want to talk about these racers. Listen, this sucks for them. I'm going to be just perfectly blunt here. It's so late at night that there's no reason to sugarcoat it, and I want to shoot y'all straight. This sucks for Murray State. I think that Arkansas has a massive upper hand and advantage going into this game. They have better pitching. They have better hitting. They have more power. They have better bat-to-ball skills. They probably have better athleticism across the board. They're paying more for their roster. You could argue that their coaching is more experienced, maybe even better. They have more resources. They're able to track their stuff and use analytics throughout the season. However, one thing that I think none of the teams remaining in the College World Series field have that Murray State has in spades is moxie. I was able to talk to some of those guys after today's game, and I can't even begin to tell you how cool it is to listen to the perspective that these Murray State players are able to provide. I think it's just rare in our game today that's so driven by the money and where teams think that they belong because of how much they're paying for their rosters. I listened to Dustin Mercer, the right fielder from Murray State today, say that in his life, up until he got to Omaha, he's never felt famous before. But now that he's here at the College World Series, he feels like a celebrity because there are kids in the street who want his autograph, who want to talk to him, who want to take pictures with him. And let me tell you, don't count that out. I think that this Murray State team, because of those features, has as good a chance as any to be able to go make some noise, even in a matchup where it is the massive underdog, even in a matchup where it should almost certainly lose. I really do think that they have a chance. And so my final thought of this night, unless we get any more questions, is that the Murray State Racers might be down big time. Arkansas is a fantastic team, but I wouldn't count them out. I really like Murray State going into this final game. Connor Johnson, last second question.
That's a buzzer. We'll have to go to Secaucus and see if you got it off, but on the field, I think it counts.
I'm gonna say it's good. It counts. It's within the clock. Who's the best player in the UCLA LSU game? Anthony Ianson. quickly for me. It's
Rock
Anthony
Chalowski.
Ianson, Rock Chalowski, one of those two guys. It comes down to the two. It's got to be Rock for UCLA, probably Ianson because Kade Anderson's not playing for LSU. Derek Curiel is a guy worth shouting out. Really like him. He's got a chance to make some noise in the draft. So they are exciting. Anthony JD, as an LSU fan, I hope you're right. Don't want to see the Hogs again.
You probably will.
But I think you will. I really do. Well, folks, listen, I think that this was really fun. And we are going to continue to do this every single night. Before we let you go, we got to encourage you, head on over to baseballamerica.com/college. We've got tons of content going up right now. Pete's got a great Cape Cod League preview that just hit the website. I'm out here in Omaha right now with College World Series content every single day, from recaps to feature stories. Tomorrow morning, something you can look forward to. I talked to a couple LSU players and I asked them, what's it like to face Kade Anderson? We don't really have that kind of perspective. We can talk about what it looks like to watch people face Kade Anderson, but I wanted the inside scoop from some of his teammates on what it was like in the fall. The answer, in short, by the way, is really hard. Not fun was kind of the summary for sure. But I think it'll be worth the read. The guys had some really cool things to say. Again, that's baseballamerica.com/college. We will also be back tomorrow late at night again, and as we will with every week, every day, not every week, for the remaining possible 8 days of the College World Series. Peter and I will be on the website here on YouTube, live talking each day, every day, and we might even have some guests. So make sure you tune back in moving forward. But for tonight, that's going to do it for Peter Flaherty. My name's Jacob Rudner, and we appreciate you joining us. We'll see you tomorrow.